Hey guys, it's Yolanda at DryerBuzz, and of course, 27 answers. Got to put that back in there. Happy International Women's Day. What the heck is it, right? It's an annual thing. Let's find out. I had to go and get like the official on this. And of course, I need to do a couple of things to get us started. And of course, first and foremost, that is invite some women in. What time is it? 12:37. I have to check the time on the East Coast here because we're so busy as women that I wanted to make sure I wasn't infringing on anybody else's stream time. But you already know I go live each and every day, all day. No, I don't. And I shouldn't even be live today. I should just be somewhere chilling because it's Thursday. Thursday is like my Monday. Just like your Monday is Monday, my Monday is Thursday. And I'm hitting this invite button. If you are receiving too many invites, unfriend me. Otherwise, Facebook is going to let me know that you are enjoying the content. And they got you on this list of people to invite. And I don't like inviting anybody that don't want to be invited. So please take care of that on your end. Okay. All right. And you have to make those kind of discussions. Let's talk about this being International Women's Day. What do women need? Hey, Celeste. So if you don't have time to listen right now, first of all, you can minimize it. If you click up there where the live button is, you will then see an option to minimize it. Put it down in the corner. You can listen and you can continue to stroll your timeline. That's why I'm doing it in audio. I don't want you to sit and look at me. I want you to just listen. Put it in your desk drawer, plug in your Bluetooth or whatever it is you need to do so that you can get this buzz. I'm telling you. Okay. So today is, and you've probably seen it in all the headlines or whatever sources you use down your timeline. People are celebrating it as International Women's Day. It is held annually on March the 8th. And one of the many sites that and what I love about it, I tried to go get the definition, and several of the sites were slow, shut down, because everybody wants to know, what is this International Women's Day? You know, some of us, we've been spending a couple of weeks over in Wakanda. And the rest of us about to go off and enjoy A Wrinkle in Time. And we're considering these. We came from Wakanda. The movie was called Black Panther, but the women, of course, outshine the Black Panther. We don't like Black Panther. Who? You mean the Dora Milaje? Is the option available on mobile devices? Yes, it's somewhere on there. I'm on a mobile device. So, and not only that, we celebrated Wakanda because the costume design was by a woman. I mean, women were just ever present in that movie. And then, of course, getting behind Oprah, Ava, Reese Witherspoon. Who's the other? Oprah Winfrey, Ava DuVernay, Reese Witherspoon. Was it Nicole Kidman and others coming in this wrinkle of time? Everybody was saying, hey, listen, y'all spent all that money on Black Panther. Let's keep it going for Ava. And I'm like, I didn't read the book. It wasn't part of my childhood. And then there are a lot of women out there and all up in their feelings because because Oprah's playing whatever the women are, and but that's in America. That's an American thing. It's International Women's Day. So toss all of that I just said. Toss that out. That's that whole American dynamic we got going on over here on the state side. Okay. But International Women's Day is annually held March 8th to celebrate women's achievement throughout history and across nations. It is also known as United Nations Day for women's rights and international peace. Yeah, somebody let everybody know about that going on in America, because women up in the States be tripping. International Women's Day events are held worldwide March 8th. Various women, including political, community, business leaders, as well as leading educators, inventors, entrepreneurs, television personalities, are usually invited to speak at various events on the day. Such events may include seminars, conferences, lunches, dinners, breakfasts. Well, dang, I wish I'd known, and I probably would have had a breakfast with DryerBuzz. I think I did last year. Yeah, International Women's Day. So we'll share that video. Thank God it's out there. We'll share that video. We can go back and watch it because those topics are still relevant. Let's talk about the thumbnail that I have available for you guys. You guys are looking at, when I think about international women, I think about covering international women in Atlanta, I have to think about the Peachtree Road Race. And a lot of people are out there training already. And you see the three different women there. Two are dressed in the red, white, and blue. One is dressed as Statue of Liberty. That's when you can literally, if you're not in the race, stand and support the runners and literally see a large part of Atlanta. I was about to say all of Atlanta, but all of us don't run. See a very large part of Atlanta run by. The diversity, I mean, because in the South, we live in a Southern bubble here in Atlanta that's really getting its bubble burst here in the South. But it's usually black and white. Everything is black and white, black and white. And so I always love the opportunity to get beyond the bubble. And so that's why I love covering the Peachtree Road Race. And one of the things that have come to the table time and time again with DryerBuzz is that, we as a society, keep asking for this quote-unquote diversity, and mainstream is just not going to deliver. So the internationalness, I think that's a word, internationalism, I think that's a better word, has to come from those who are willing to open up, go beyond the limits or the bubble. And I've said a time or two, and I've tried a time or two to do that at DryerBuzz. Unfortunately, because media is built on some of the very similar race constructs as the country is, oftentimes we get put in a box. Depending on, no matter what level you are, if you are considered media, from media to storyteller, radio, television, TV shows and so forth, you always, and you guys hear me say this all the time about having to be put in these boxes. My phone is already hot, so this thing's probably going to crash. If it does, I may or may not come back. Hopefully it'll cool off. I'm tired of having to fan it like a woman getting the Holy Ghost, whatever. But International Women's Day, I could go to my timeline, and there are some things that I've supported. I know this weekend I am covering, I've said yes to a couple of events, one on Saturday and one on Sunday. Let me go over here to mine. I think I put them on my Instagram. We're working on DryerBuzz.com right now, building a brand new site for a site makeover. So the site is going to be down probably a couple of more weeks as I build on that. On Sunday, we're invited to First Congregational Church United Christ Church of Christ. First Church. It's got a lot of stuff in this logo. First Church stands out. United Church of Christ, I guess, is what it is. Okay. And this weekend, this Sunday, the First Congregational Church welcomes Reverend Tracy Blackman to the Women's Day pulpit, March the 11th. DryerBuzz's access granted when the Reverend Tracy Blackman, Executive Minister of Justice and Witness Ministries of the United Church of Christ, is featured speaker at the 2018 Women's Day services at First Congregational Church. Let's see. Now, that's located at 105 Cortlandt Street at John Wesley Dobbs Avenue. First Church continues the celebration of its 150th anniversary. Reverend Blackman, the 18th installed and first woman pastor in the 156-year history of Christ the King United Church in Florissant, Missouri, became nationally recognized as a prominent voice of social change when Michael Brown was shot in Ferguson, Missouri, just miles from her church. She immediately got involved in organizing the Black Lives Matter movement, effectively assisting and collaborating with the people in the community working for justice. Blackman said it's very important to figure out the desire, direction, and priorities around social issues and listen to all the voices involved so to not leave anybody behind. She brings that reasoning and direction to UCC's mission, First Congregational Church, with current leader, the Reverend Dr. Wright Andrews. It was founded in 1867. It's one of the oldest African-American congregations in Atlanta. So happy International Women's Day, Kim, Teresita, and Sylvia. Welcome in. So that's one of the things that we're going to be doing this weekend. Also on Saturday, there is a rally. Speaking of International Women's Day, Atlanta, Georgia will possibly have a female governor if you get out there and support a candidate in your particular party. Because I think there are going to be women, just like there were women across the board running for the mayoral race. We are now following the storyline. Real gubernatorial candidates of Georgia, RGCOG, just like we did RMCOA, RGCOG, that's going to be the hashtag. And we've already got a couple of stories out there. Georgia might have a governor named Stacey. Now, unfortunately, again, in that southern bubble, there's white Stacey, there's black Stacey. That's Georgia, y'all. I'm sorry if I am bringing this drama into your international bubble. That's Georgia. But both of those ladies are running for the Democratic ticket. So we're going to get ready to start exploring a lot of these candidates that are running for Georgia. It's time for Georgia to make a change. And so make sure that you are, even if you're not in Georgia, make sure you keep an eye on this race, because we've got to learn that how we vote in our prospective regions, in our prospective cities, in our prospective states impacts women around the world. And I've said women because it's International Women's Day, particularly because Georgia is home to the international airport. A lot of businesses, a lot of companies are coming here. You may work for a company in your city that now has or plan to have their headquarters here. If you are there are a number of industries that are women friendly, for women owned, women dominated, that may have its origins here. So how I vote, how my neighbors vote, how my sisters vote, how my daughters vote, how the women in Atlanta vote, women in Georgia vote, could really impact your life where you are. Based on, the tax structure we have here. I mean, the company, you may work for a company that's headquartered in your city, but because of how we vote, how our election turns out, they may say, hey, listen, it's time to get up out of Philly. It's time to get up out of Carolinas. It's time to get away from the West Coast. It's time to go east, time to go south, and it could end up here. So that's why you need to be concerned with how we're voting here. We need to be concerned with how you're voting there, because it might be, as I say all the time, it could be your representation that sits on a committee that dictates the number one issue in my household, not just the people that I vote for, because they may not serve on a particular committee that could be my number one concern right now. Everybody should be concerned about the economic development. And as I say that, I look up at my television and I'm looking at this humongous structure that's being dedicated or about to break ground. And I'm trying to get a little bit of headline on that. Let me see how Governor is talking now.
Second headquarters, or HQ.
Okay, because HQ too. One, because that structure happened to be a Facebook structure. Facebook is bringing a data center here, right? We've already got large presence of Google. We've got large presence here of Mercedes. We've got Porsche. A number of trying to get Amazon, HQ2. And all those kinds of things. Happy International Women's Day. What does it mean, Happy International Women's Day? I want to put out there a couple of things. I want to talk about and as I talk about female governor, there's Stacey Abrams on it. It's stuff is coming at us, y'all. These devices, they are listening. I'm going to go, once I finish doing this on International Women's Day, I'm going to go back to my timeline, and my timeline is going to be so full of stuff, I mean, you would not believe. But what I want to talk about International Women's Day, in the 16 years of blogging at DryerBuzz.com, now mind you, DryerBuzz.com at any given moment can have a larger male audience than a female audience. I cannot negate that. I cannot dismiss that. And I'm sorry, when I come to the table on keeping this entity running, when I come to the table, I sat down and I met with a gentleman just yesterday. He was like, what do I need to do to support you so that you get back out there, so that you keep it going in this 16th year? The accommodations, the awards, the very first awards that we, and pretty much, the very first awards we got, the reason why I can say DryerBuzz is an award-winning Dishy socialite social website. The very first award we got came from men, right? So I can't dismiss that our larger audience, majority of the time, is men. One, because when you go to DryerBuzz.com, it's not for it, the least of it. I mean, it's not a lot of hair stuff there. I'm not talking about your curl pattern. We have great debates. Those great debates. We facilitate great conversations, great debates. We talk about being entrepreneurs. And one of the reasons it leans more towards men, we have the language of men. We talk about the fatherhood issue. And we just hold women accountable equally in some of these things. I have found that over the 16 years, if I ask a woman her permission to do a story on her, I'll normally get a no. I'll normally get a wait. She'll put it on pause. So for the most part, I'll go ahead and do the story and just send her the clipping. And then she goes, "Oh wow, thank you. I had no idea I was buzzworthy." Most of them don't. It's that whole Harriet Tubman thing. If they all knew that they were buzzworthy, I could have buzzed about more of them. I run into that. I called up somebody just the other day and said, "Hey, listen, come on, go live with me." And they were like, "Well, no, people might disagree with what I'm going to say." People disagree with me every day, all day. And that's how we end up with 80 comments on a simple little quote, but you have to stand behind your convictions. I could sit out there and go toe to toe with some of these comments and get to the end of it. My opinion is still my opinion, because my conviction is still my conviction. I still believe. Now, you might sway me if I'm ever wrong, or I might just want to disagree. Not disagree, but agree to disagree. We might come to an impasse. Or we might begin to see each other's side. Because it's based on yours is based on your experience, mine is based on my experience. But when it comes to women, and when it comes to International Women's Day, we got some things that we need to work on as women. Number one, and I think I said what women need to do today, and I think I meant to say to save the world. The one thing that we need to do that's done well internationally, that's probably not done as well here stateside, I'm going to say stateside in America, is we don't see each other as providers. We don't look, even though we know what the stats are of female-headed households, we know that even in two-parent households, how much, even in a two-professional household, how much the woman has to contribute, either it be time or money. We don't come to the table recognizing that fact wholly, okay? And I don't know what it is. I really, truly don't know what it is, but we don't see each other as providers. We don't see each other as having something to lose. We don't understand our true value. That's why from February to darn near November, women spend billions of dollars going to conferences, brunches, lunches, events, trying to find their confidence, their calling, their passion, right? I had a breakfast with DryerBuzz for a whole year of women and men coming to the table. And men came knowing who they were. They came to the table knowing what they needed, knowing how they have to network with each other. But women came and what they needed. It was interesting because I found myself telling them, you already have it. You already possess it. You're already in your calling. You're already achieving your passion. You're already in the midst of your dream. You already have everything that you need. Just showing them that they were already equipped. All you got to do is make eye contact. All you got to do is look. All you got to do is say it out loud. And every time, and now mind you, I've done this for 30 years. Okay, having events, monthly events, bringing women and men, because we would do it for the men, the same thing. Whatever I do for one, we did for the other. But in the 90s, started in the 90s, well, actually, I started with men, and the men would always say, can you go talk to the women? Can you talk to the ladies? Because I started out with something called Words to My Brother. And it started out in the 90s, and I would have speakers, and I would bring together at least 4 generations of men together in a lunch format. No women were allowed. My girlfriend would cater it, and we'd leave, and we allow the men time to have their conversations, bond, break down barriers, whatever they needed to do. And then they would come back and they would give us the takeaways. Take this back to the women. And so then I was like, and the women were like, well, we want one. And so we started having one for women. It centered around our mental health, because there's so much in our world that just snatches our mental health, and we don't even allow ourselves to even have that time. Most of us have been rescheduling the breakdown because we don't have time for it, and we need it. We need it so much. Hell, I just went through 3 years. I'm like, can I have the breakdown yet? No, because everybody's like, where's breakfast? Where's Answer of the Day? Where's the book club? I had a meeting yesterday, and I'm like, I think I need one more month. I went to a conference 3 years ago, and I said, I want to take a year off. And everybody was like, who does that? Where do they do that? I'm like, we don't know how to do that? You mean we grind and we hustle and we can't then turn around and take time off? Let me figure this out, and I'll come back and tell y'all how it's done. Right? And when I said to somebody yesterday, and they said, well, what was the answer? The answer is allow your support system to support you. That was the answer. There's a reason I had 4 kids. There's a reason my 4 kids are doing very well. There's a reason my kids are like, well, Mom, you need time off, take time off. Mom, you need to do this, do it. We got you. You got to say it out loud. You got to say what you need. We got to stop pushing it down, as Jennifer Lewis said at Power Rising, where 1,000 women rode to Atlanta for a weekend. Already, the conference season hadn't even fully started, and that ended up being the first one of the year already. And now my phone's ringing with Karen Campbell. We got this, ladies. We just have to connect. International Women's Day. When I go out there to that race each year, mind you, if I asked for a few women to run by me, look in the camera, no, I can't ask permission. Stop asking permission. My greatest sister, Adela Shabazz, said, and that's the daughter of Malcolm X, when you ask for permission, people will put you on pause. Stop asking for permission the rest of the day. I tell women, when I'm in you guys know when I go live streaming, you probably see me on live stream. I go live stream. You can hear the women around me. I'm sorry. Excuse me. I'm sorry. And I just tell them, stop saying that. Stop apologizing. I'm like, you need to walk by me, walk by. Okay? You need to, hold on. My phone is like ringing out the hook here. Listen, that's Cameron. Want a video chat? Wants to be? No, Karen, I'm not gonna video chat. I'm live. She's over here like trying to send me all these messages. It's probably something I need to go check with her. But we've got to stop asking permission. Stop putting ourselves on pause. Ladies, stop putting everybody else on pause. Stop asking your friends, your daughters, to be afraid, to have inhibitions. Just go forward. Go out there and do it. I will never forget to this day the very first salon. Reason why you don't see a whole bunch of salon stuff at DryerBuzz. Reason why we don't have the connection with salons that you think a website called DryerBuzz.com ought to have is because women got issues. Okay, I can't partner with the salon. The first, Karen Campbell, look, let's meet for lunch. You see me live streaming over here. Let's try it. Let me get off this audio. Because the very first salon that I went in, and I said to the woman, she was getting ready to have a grand opening just a mile from my home. Now, I can't do juicy crab. I'm deadly allergic to shellfish. And they got fish, and I heard they got some good fish, but no, can't do that. Hello to everyone. How you, Londa? Happy Women's Day. let me tell you. And so the very first salon, here I am with this website called DryerBuzz.com, and I really didn't even have it all done. She couldn't have gone online to see it anyway because she didn't have no technology in her salon. So I printed off some screenshots of the website, and I took them in and I said, hey, listen, I'm Yolanda. I've got this website called DryerBuzz.com. It's on the internet. Now, mind you, during that time, I had to explain what the internet was because everybody didn't know. It was new. I was a pioneer at this thing, right? And I went in. And I saw that she was getting ready to have a ribbon cutting because that's something they do. You know, they do a lot of ribbon cuttings around here. They don't stay long enough to help these businesses so totally succeed. But she was going to do a grand opening, a ribbon cutting. I said, I want to come by the ribbon cutting, but I like to do a story on your salon. And she looked at me and she goes, well, what's in it for you? And I was like, wow, never had that before. What's in it for me? There's nothing really in it for me. Well, yeah, this is going to end up being a story on my website. So you're going to get some benefit off of it. Okay, she got issues. And I just looked at her and I'm like, that wall right there, I can't break down that wall. And I remember gathering my things and leaving. And she had her ribbon cutting. She had her grand opening. And thus she then had her going out of business because everybody that went in that salon walked right out of there. It's like something's wrong with that woman. Something is wrong. There is a tattoo shop in that space right now. Perfect space for a salon, but there's a tattoo shop in there right now because you walk in a tattoo shop, the first thing they say is, hey, what kind of tattoo you want? Customer service. Women, ladies, still to this day, the next story that I will probably run, doing this one right here, I don't know. It's International Women's Day. Women are making strides all across the planet. Think about that. All across the planet. Stop putting yourself on pause. I did an answer of the day today. Our answer of the day, which is what we're doing live on our page, 27 Answers. And the answer of today was no excuses. No excuses. Just get beyond your excuses. Stop giving yourself an alibi. Just stop putting yourself on pause. When we think about international, I was trying to think of how many women I knew internationally. I remember going on a couple of tours. One of the things I do in Atlanta, there are these tours that take you into various communities so that you can learn about different aspects of communities. Periodically, they'll invite bloggers along with media and press and so forth. And I remember going on one that was for the Latino community. There's one for the Asian community. And there's one for the Black community, and there's one for other communities and so forth. And you go on there, and I remember trying to figure out where is the true intersection. We're all out here, but where do we truly intersect? We intersect, and I could tell you where we don't, but I'm gonna tell you where we do. We intersect by happenstance. I was on a radio panel at WABE, and we were talking about the impact of Me Too and Time's Up on Atlanta. And I was on that panel, and it was amazing. So thank you so much for International Women's Day. I have to shout out Rose Scott, who does award-winning radio shows called Closer Look. It comes on in WABE, where Atlanta meets NPR. But check it out. In fact, she'll be on in... She's probably going live. She's actually 5 minutes into her show right now. So I'm going to end so I can throw you guys over there. But I went on the show. It had Justice Leah Sears Ward on the Ward Sears on there. It had one of the presidents with the WNBA. It had another young lady from the Latino community. And I want to say there was one more. It seems like there were 4. I think that's 4. And myself. And that was an intersection, And we were trying to figure out, well, why haven't we intersected before? And I went to another session. This one was put on by Coca-Cola. They had one. There was another one where Canada, the government of Canada had an international business summit here in Atlanta. and they were talking about trying to get women in the States, to export to Canada and Canada to export to the United States. I mean, there's so many opportunities out there. And I think because we live in the States, and I'm saying it that way, because we live in America, and America more so than many other countries, have such a construct of gender, race, and other biases that we miss out on this opportunity. So when International Women's Day slips up on us, because I don't know how many of us truly put something in the works or something in the planning. I know I went through my email and I looked for some of the my PR people that keep us abreast of these invites, great invites that go on. And I'm like, I got to stop. I got to make time and I got to share some of these things. So that's why I shared the event that's happening Sunday. And that's why I shared the event that's happening Saturday. And that's why for the rest of the day, I'm going to continue to share those events. If you're not out there, if you're not going to your library, which probably has an event at lunchtime today or after work, because it said, as I look up, it said that there are events. Let me see if I can go back to it. Oh man, I lost the page. That there are conferences, workshops, a lot of speeches, a lot of events going on today. Let me go back. Let me see if I can search it again here. International Women. All I did was Google International Women's Day. There's a hashtag running on all your platforms. If you want to check that out, all of the websites have got, let me see, I can't go to that one. Where did I go? Why do we celebrate? I went to this one that says, why do we celebrate International Women's Day? And this is timeanddate.com. International Women's Day is annually held March 8th to celebrate women's achievement throughout. Now, for those of you also that don't know, on Valentine's Day is V-Day. And there's a lot of information there that continues on. It's like the lunch of things that will happen all year long. Again, it's for business leaders, for the political, various women, including political, community, business leaders, as well as leading educators, inventors, entrepreneurs, television personalities, usually invited to speak at various events. Such events may include seminars, conferences, lunches, dinners, breakfasts. The messages given at these events often focus on various themes such as innovation, the portrayal of women in media, or the importance of education and career opportunities. Many students in schools and other educational settings participate in special lessons. So be sure to ask your sons and your daughters and your sons when they come home, what some of the conversations they had today about International Women's Day. Don't just let it be a lesson at school. Talk about it at home. Bring that into the home, because we have to do a lot now, always, to reinforce what they're learning in school. Because what happens is kids are learning things at school. They don't see how it translates into our life, because they come home and you got a whole other struggle going on at home. You got a whole other survival going at home. They can't look at you and see where their science class and no shade, no shots fired. But I'm just saying, because of survival, they can't look at us and see where math class comes in, because you're not sitting down and letting them know about doing the taxes and the bills and negotiating, keeping the lights on and all that kind of stuff, right? They don't see the science that's going on. They see the struggles, but they can't transfer the things that are going on. Home should be an extension of school. School should be an extension of home, and so on. Public Life International Women's Day is a public holiday in some countries, but not exclusive to, and it lists a couple of countries. There are many businesses, government offices, educational institutions are closed in the above-mentioned countries, not America. Why isn't International Women's Day? Did anybody think to take, did you know it was International Women's Day? Did you think to take the day off? Did you plan to do something specific for International Women's Day? Or did you wake up and you heard it on the radio, or you saw it on the news, or you see it in your social media timelines? Much progress has been made to protect, again, I'm reading timeanddate.com. Much progress has been made to protect and promote women's rights in recent times. However, nowhere in the world can women claim to have all the same rights and opportunities as men, according to the UN. The majority of the world's 1.3 billion absolute poor are women. On average, women receive between 30 and 40% less pay than men earn for the same work, and most of that pay is done by women. Especially, like, I live in Atlanta, okay? And you're going to tell me that if that is true here, when most of the leadership in this city is women, yes, when one of the laws came down for the equal pay, yes, they had to go back and make it retroactive in the government run by a female mayor. So we as women, if we can't negotiate for ourselves, how are you going to negotiate for somebody else? I remember working for an entity, and I wanted to be pitched for something, and I had to say, hey, listen, here's how you pitch me. Okay, here's how you're going to negotiate for me. First of all, we're going to double it, okay? We might even have to triple it because they're going to come back in the middle. And I'm trying to have this conversation with a woman, and it's like, and I went to one woman, I was like, here, there's this opportunity. I kind of just let them handle that. No, we're not going to sit back and wait for them to handle that. We're going to go in there. And if I can't go with you, I will go through you. I will go over and around you. In fact, I might just push you the hell on out of my way because I want this and I want it at this price, right? And, and which is why I roll like a steamroller and I roll along, because we've got to learn how to speak up. There's no way we should be at a point in this time, in a time when we live in public, hashtag we live in public, that you should be able to even approach a woman with 30% less. And that's why I say the number one thing that we can do today is to begin to see each other as providers. If we really truly begin to see each other as providers the way men do, okay, then you wouldn't be able to come to me with 40% less, 30% less, right? All right. Women also continue to be victims of violence, with rape and domestic violence listed as significant causes of disability. Okay, that's another thing. And death among women worldwide. The first International Women's Day occurred March 19th, y'all, 1911. Now, we know it's been a whole lot of women that have suffered at the hands of women. Okay, because we live in America. For those of y'all listening internationally, shout out to you. But we live in America, and a lot of women have stood by and watched a lot of women suffer. If you are not right now concerned about these immigrant laws, think about it. That's women and children, these dreamers who have grown up in them, whose parents brought them to America, who've been educated in this country and now face deportation. And we're not concerned with them because we don't see them as providers. We don't even see each other as women, and understanding that. And that's another thing that like irks me, because it's like how do you sit side by side of another woman and can't understand what she's going through? I remember the day I asked online, I asked on Facebook, I was like, what does your depression look like? And when I tell you the comments that came through, and I'm like, how do we not know that? How do you not know? And I had to question those things myself, going through some of the things. I'm like, how did I not know this is what it felt like for others that have been through this or will go through this? I have to talk about these things, and not just on International Women's Day. International Women's Day is supposed to be the day that we celebrate the accomplishments of what we have done for self and for others. Okay, how we should be able today not just sit back and say, well, 1 in 3, because it used to be 1 in 4. 1 in 3 of us is suffering violence out there. 1 in 3 down your timeline. And this is scientific. You can't even look down there. Birds of a feather do flock together. Y'all might be good. Y'all might be good because y'all just that strong. But if you really and truly be honest with yourself and look at your timeline, just go on your Facebook page. You know how Facebook show you the first 5 or 6 friends? 1 in 3. I've got all kinds of problems. 1 in 3. And if you can't look at that timeline, you ain't never asked, sister, you good? You good? And then be prepared to listen and be prepared for the answer. Don't just be going over there when somebody say they having a bad day and then I'm having a bad day. It ain't about you having a bad day too. Just listen to her, right? Don't be trying to tribe up on the bad stuff, just like the, breastfeeding. I'm like, we all got breasts. We had kids. This milk gonna come out, I don't need to tribe up on that. And I breastfed for the longest of the longest. And somebody like, what? Yeah, that's the one gift God gave me to give to the babies. I'm sorry to tell you. Yeah, I went long. You stop approaching me. You keep approaching me, the milk is going to come. TMI, it ain't even it's TMI Thursday. Let's go with that. But, I mean, the fact that we can't even understand that the one thing that women's supposed to do with their children, you worried about what somebody else is going to think. Ladies, that's another thing. That's another thing that you can do today. And that was what we read in that book, Think and Grow Rich. I know it's supposed to help you grow rich, but think and be sane. Stop worrying about what somebody else thinks. The number one reason people or find themselves in difficult situations is because they refuse to bring themselves out of those situations because they're too much worried about what somebody else is going to think. Too many people are worried, too many women and girls going through life worrying about what somebody else is going to think. I can't do that. When I created this thumbnail and got ready to push this button, I didn't have time to think about she's live too much. I don't care. She's live all day. I don't care. It's like you can't keep worrying about what somebody else is going to. People are going to have something to say. It's social media. They're entitled to say what they say. Everybody's entitled. That whole free speech thing. I mean, people are entitled. But, they can go where they got to go, do what they got to do. But anyway, okay. Since 1911, we've had International Women's Day. That just shocked some of us. It's 2018. 1911, we've had the inaugural event, which included rallies and organized meetings, was a big success in countries such as Austria, Denmark, Germany, and Switzerland. Damn, those are some of the best countries on the planet. Austria, Denmark, Germany, and Switzerland. They good. They are good. Okay, even your president said a couple of those are good. The March 19th date was chosen because it commemorated the day that the king promised to introduce votes for women in 1848. The promise gave hope for equality, but it was a promise that he failed to keep. The International Women's Day date was moved to March 8th in 1913. The UN drew global attention to women's concerns in 1975 by calling for International Women's Year. It also convened the first conference on women in Mexico City that year. The UN General Assembly then invited member states to proclaim March 8th as the UN Day for Women's Rights and International Peace in 1977. The day aimed to help nations worldwide eliminate discrimination against women. It also focused on helping women gain full and equal participation in global development. The symbol is the International Women's Day logo is in purple and white, and features the symbol of Venus, which is also the symbol of being female. The faces of women of all backgrounds, ages, and nations. Another thing I wanted to mention, let me see what I was reading something that I wanted to mention. I think I lost it. So, and then they have on here, they have a calendar letting you know all the way to 2020. Quick facts, International Women's Day celebrates women's achievements worldwide and throughout. Here's what I want you to do, because here's, I think, what we do too much of is when we're celebrating International Women's Day, yes, we must always remember. I want you to post something, and I don't want to say anything is no longer relevant, but post something of now, because what we have to do is we have to help our young people recognize that they too are making history. I love the photo that went viral of the 2-year-old staring at the portrait of Michelle Obama. Now, remember when the portraits of the Obamas were released, okay? We didn't even stop for a moment to celebrate the fact of the black female artists, not to mention the black male artists. I mean, they got to select the artists that they wanted. Everybody was like, we all did, was like, whoa, that's different. And this is the thing about it. First of all, the Obamas represented change. But in every essence of trying to bring change, people would say, well, they're not like the other presidents, So when their portraits were done, their portraits are done very different than the rest of the presidential portraits. And it kind of, it looked like some Instagram filters. But then I said, when I saw that little girl looking at it, I said, oh, okay. We weren't looking at those portraits with the lens of the future. We weren't looking. That little girl at 2 years old, all she's ever known is that the first lady, she called Michelle Obama, that's the queen. The 2-year-old they said, who is that? That's the queen. That's Michelle Obama, right? So when she walked into that, never mind the fact that her mother has already taken her to the Museum of Presidential Portraits, she's already been to see the portrait up close and personal. Okay, most of us ain't even made that trip to the museums yet. She's already seen the portrait, and it's for somebody to capture the essence of her staring at Michelle Obama. And you think about the way that portrait is made. That portrait was designed to catch the eye of the future. Some of us can't see beyond the lens of the past, and seeing her, and then listening to her describe who that was to her, that's something that she's always ever known. And if it starts out with Michelle Obama, where do you think she's going to go in her as she intersects with women internationally? If it started with Michelle Obama, where do you think there are no limits? There are no limits as to what she can see. We need to wish that we can see through those eyes, through her lens. All these little girls running around here that understand, that they've always lived in public. They're not going to have you can't do this and you can't do that, because they can get on their little iPads and their devices and they have a window to the world that we didn't have. They don't live in a southern bubble. They don't have the wounds that we have, like I have, trying to own media in a southern bubble that thinks that everything ought to be black and white and it ought to start with white males and then everybody else. They don't have that lens. So they don't have those limits on International Women's Day. International Women's Day to them has a whole other meaning, because they go to the daycare, and the daycare is full of intersection of international. They've been riding the pool and the line ride on the ride share. They know what the intersection of international looks like. We have got to contribute more to it, especially in the States. We've got to contribute more to it. Celebrating since 1911, I don't even want to go back. Travel in time? No. I'd go forward. Afrofuturism. I don't know about going backwards. But think about it. It's International Women's Day. The one thing that we can do, the one thing that I hope we begin to do more of, is we begin to see each other as providers. That is my hope. That's what I hope to do with DryerBuzz. When you look at these stories that we're posting, I want you to see that woman for who she is and what she contributes and all that she has to not just give so that you can take, but just to understand what we contribute. And, there's so many proverbs that say, and I mean, there's a proverb in every language, every land. If you feed a woman or teach a woman, she's going to teach the world. It doesn't just stop with women. But when you marginalize a woman, they know when you marginalize a woman, you marginalize the world. But if you give openly and honestly and with all of your heart to a woman, she's going to give openly, honestly, and all of her heart to the world. When the lion gets a storyteller, the hunter no longer has the better part of the story. I'm just not going to ask her if I can tell her story. I'm just going to tell her story. I'm just going to Put her out there. And that's what we have done for 16 years at DryerBuzz.com. We just put them out there. And I can't tell you how many of them have come back and said, well, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do the story. Just not right now. I'm not ready. No, you're ready. You just don't believe you're buzzworthy. And so I'm going to go continue to do what I do. Thank you for those of you that have allowed us to tell your story. Thank you for those of you who didn't tell us to take your story down. If we told it without your permission, I am not asking you your permission. It's International Women's Day. Go and be great. All right, guys. When I end this, I'm going to, of course, save it and put it in a number of places. But I'm also going to begin to share some links today. Please like them. Please share them. Please extend. Please get to an intersection where you can meet up with other women of all races and creeds and nationalities, and understand that, beyond it all, beyond our limits, we're still women. Bye.